God. What in the hell?
It's hurting my head.
Shush up, Rick. Shush up, Nick.
You called him
Almost
Rick.
call me Rick.
Yes.
What the
So we were in the midst of recording a reaction, and all of a sudden, Kate came down and was just like, hey, can I join in? And here we are. And here she is. So, yeah. So, I was just having thoughts on this show and everything because of just like the comments made about it. But we'll let you
Is
get
this a little cartoon that kids watch?
the blue
Bluey?
dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you aware of it?
A little bit.
Okay. So apparently it's an Australian cartoon about a blue dog, and like it basically reminds kids of their childhood and everything. Which, you know, I'm all about reminiscing to a certain degree, but I don't know. Getting lost in nostalgia can sometimes make people just forget about living in the now.
True.
And while I guess my main point that I was trying to make was that, you know, it's over reliance on like having like nostalgia or like having nostalgic moments is just, I don't know, if you overdo it, it can have very bad effects on like your mental health and everything. But at the same time, a little bit of looking back can do good. A little bit of self introspection can do good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just everyone nowadays seems to be so obsessed with nostalgia and having rose-tinted glasses about the olden times back when we were young. It's like, yeah, we didn't have as many responsibilities. It's called being a kid. And you don't realize it until it's too late that it's just like, damn, I missed out on, you know, doing a lot when I was a kid, and now that I'm actually old enough to understand like how good I had it back then, I kind of want it back. But alas, here we are, still reminiscing about our childhoods and everything. But yeah, Bluey. Apparently, Odd One's out. James is going to give us a little bit of a rundown about it and give his thoughts on Bluey. And to commemorate it...
Oh, God.
No, we already did one of the previous one. I gave you a little one.
This isn't for you, though. It's for Kate.
God damn it. I still have to listen to it.
All right. Tell me when to stop.
Stop. Get the one over on that side.
Oh, okay. Actually, I think I've told all these.
Oh.
Here, let me try it again.
Stop.
Okay. I asked my wife to pick a pumpkin to make pumpkin pie. When she said she couldn't find one at the store, I told her, well, I guess our plans are squashed. I can hear Nick just inside his head just going, boo. Yeah, exactly. Dad jokes. Buy yours today. Not sponsored, by the way.
At Barnes & Noble.
At Barnes & Noble. It's only $12.
That was the first thing you
We
picked
bought
up.
like $500 worth of literature the other day, and that's the one I've had to hear the most.
It's because the rest are cookbooks.
Yeah,
The rest are cookbooks and movies.
Yeah.
I got Junji Ito books as well. I just haven't got to read any of them yet.
I got some. Who's the author for Dune?
Oh.
Shit.
Frank Herbert.
Yeah.
Frank Herbert. I got Frank Herbert
Yeah, the second two Dune books.
Yee.
and a cookbook. And
Yes.
I convinced Nate to get most of the cookbooks that he
Oh my
bought.
God. Yeah, and some of the anime too. Like some of the ones that
Yeah.
you were just like, I really like this one. It's like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But
It's all my fault.
no, it's not. I wanted those. And I'm glad we got them.
Also, Nate bought me a really cool Spike's family shirt, and Nick bought me a really cool pair of Spike's family socks.
Yes. Those are awesome, by the way.
Look forward to those whenever the show comes back out.
Yes. But anyway, let's check out what Odd Ones Out has to say about Bluey. Here we go.
Uncle James, can we play Space Explorer? Shut up for a second. I'm watching this unnaturally charming preschool show. Why are you watching a show for babies? Okay, kid. This show is extremely sophisticated and can be enjoyed by both children and adults. So why don't you shut your ignorant mouth and find someone who actually loves you to play your silly little space game?
Oh.
Crikey, Bingo! You can't say that to your sister. You have to say nice things. Treat others how you want to be treated, mate. Oh, I really needed to hear that today. This episode of The Odd Ones Out is called... Are you familiar with the
Relatable.
Australian animated preschool show Bluey? If your TikTok algorithm is anything like mine, you'll have seen a bunch of clips of this blue cartoon dog all over your For You page, paired with Subway Surfer highlights. Wow, TikTok, clips of a foreign preschool show? I thought you were supposed to cater to my interests. Let's read some of the comments on these Bluey TikToks, shall we? No shame, I'm a senior in high school, but I watched Bluey religiously, and this episode had me all in my feels. I'd say I had a good childhood, but I binged Bluey because adult life is so stressful and I'm sad, and it reminds me of a simpler time. Bluey is for everyone. I'm literally 27, and it's such a comfort show. Bluey is absolutely destroying me as a teenager who wishes he had this childhood. In my teen years and watching full episodes of Bluey. Watching Bluey high is such a fun time, dude. Huh. You know, to me, I'm just thinking out loud here. It seems like a lot of these comments weren't made by preschoolers. What's going on here? Now, if your brain is anything like mine, you'll be thinking, why is this show about Australian dogs so popular with adults who don't even have children? In fact, why does Bluey have over 5 billion views on TikTok, is searched more than Paw Patrol, Peppa Pig, and Cocomelon? And why is this episode number 8 in IMDb's highest rated episodes of all time?
What?
This phenomenon intrigued me, and I was also bullied by a large number of people on my own team to watch the show.
Frickin' furries.
So one day I sat down, put on the first episode, and I watched all 141 episodes.
Jesus.
Oh my
James.
gosh.
Jesus H. Wept, man. Calm down. Oh. 141 episodes.
I didn't even make it that far into One Piece, and it's supposed to be like one of the greatest stories of all time.
It's up there. And I can understand, well, getting burned out on that, I can understand.
It's just, I have a problem sticking with things sometimes. I have to have somebody else with me to keep me on track.
Anytime I hear
Too
something,
easily distracted. I'll go back to it eventually. But.
anytime I hear people talk about like wanting to get into One Piece, I imagine that meme of like the dude like seeing the attractive girl. It's like One Piece, and then like dude starts following him, and his homie's just like, dude, 1,065 episodes. Yeah, and then it's just like, oh.
Sadly, I really, for some reason, want to get into watching Conan. And that's worse.
Yeah, Detective Conan's up to like 1,200 episodes. I think the only one that's been running longer and has more episodes is Crayon Shin-chan. And that one's just... I don't get that one.
Yeah, from the little bit I've seen of that one, I'm not really into that.
No, it's very tongue-in-cheek and very, like, surreal. I don't get it. But anyway, like this.
141, but there's only 129 on Disney Plus. Don't worry, my fellow obsessive Bluey fan. We're going to talk about that later. I work in cartoons, and I've been to furry conventions. So Bluey has always been on my radar of shows I'm aware of. And just from the clips that I saw, I adored the art style, especially the backgrounds. So much so that my very own background team has studied and taken inspiration from Bluey's backgrounds. Here you can see my backgrounds taking on a more Bluey aesthetic. I mean, just look at the colors, especially their greens. Oh my God! Doesn't just looking at these backgrounds bring a smile to your face? While I was watching the first season, I realized, oh, okay, I see why this show is so popular. Because it's genuinely a good show. We've already established that the show is great to look at, but the voice acting, the sound design, and the music are equally as amazing, so it's also great to listen to. While most, if not all, other preschool shows will hire adults who can sound like toddlers, Bluey gets actual children to voice the actual child characters.
Huh.
Somehow, every Australian toddler...
You want to know why that's not a thing in the United States as much anymore?
Child labor laws?
Well, not just child labor laws, but also acting unions. That's the reason why, like, the show Bravest Warriors ran into problems with the kid who voiced Catbug, is because his parents were fine with it. His parents signed a form and everything, but the voice acting union basically said, no, we think it's child labor, and we don't want that. We don't want to be associated with that. Turns out it was just a big ploy just so they could get more parts for themselves. That's all it is. I mean, look, I support when unions are needed to protect from the industry itself, but when you yourself become the bad guy and prevent kids from being, playing kid parts, I'm sorry, but aren't y'all the advocates for equality and equity and all that? But yet here you are, like, trying to push kids out of the picture just so y'all can have your moment to shine. It's kind of selfish. That's all I'm saying. But in Australia, that's not a thing.
Expressive and emotional. It's impressive that the show got such a talented cast of child actors who don't sound annoying to listen to. Or maybe it's just their Aussie accents that I like. I don't know. The characters have so much personality, and the comedic timing is something I've never seen before in a preschool show. I can't think of a single time Cocomelon has made me laugh this much, or even smile. The four main characters are Chilean Bandit, the parents, and Bluey and Bingo, the 6- and 4-year-old daughters. Yes, Bluey is a girl. You gotta catch up, dude. Come on, it's 2023. The show also does not hide the fact that it's Australian. It references multiple Australian locations and animals. They call flip-flops thongs, and they say things like, "Oh, nor!" While some preschool shows focus on teaching kids numbers and letters, Bluey focuses on the relationship of the family and teaches its lessons through the make-pretend games that the family plays. And I want to emphasize how perfect these two parents are. These two are the most patient and emotionally aware parents I've seen ever. There are multiple times where the parents apologize to their kids for, frankly, not even doing anything wrong. The dad is like the most perfect dad role model, okay? Check this out. Bingo was sad that Dad didn't get to see the leaf bug outside. She was like, "Daddy, come and see. Come here, Daddy. Quickly." But he was too busy playing with Bluey, being a present father figure in her life. And at night, she's all boo-hoo about it, and he kneels down, gets to her level, and apologizes, explaining that he didn't hear her. Now, I don't have any kids, but if I spent my weekend running around with toddlers, and then right before bed, one of them said, "You didn't get to see the ladybug," I would say, "That's okay. I've already seen a ladybug. Good night."
See, well, when the kids are older, yeah, I can understand being a little bit more short with them, but when they're in their formative years like that,
yeah,
it's important to, like my dad was a great dad when he was, when I was a kid, because, he'd pick me up and do all these things, and my mom, would go out back with me. We'd smash up berries and paint with berries and all that. We found ways to occupy our time, and also, learn to shoot basketball, learning to play tennis, playing in the racket in the backyard with my mom. Oh, putting posts in the ground so we can hang a hammock in the backyard. That was fun. We had a lot of fun, and my parents were stern with me when they needed to be, but they were very emotionally supportive of me coming up and growing up. And it didn't really change until I was around 10 years old. When I was 10 years old, then my parents started to get a little bit more realistic with me, because, there comes a time when you have to grow up. You have to eventually realize there are things in the world that and they did it very slowly. For instance, my dad took me out, and, we went and we worked one day, and I was just like, "But I want to put cabinets together." He's just like, "Son, let me tell you something. If you put 10 of these cabinets together, I will give you $20. and showed me the benefit of a hard day's work, you know, because and I assembled them perfectly. I took my time. It literally took me all freaking day to put them together, and basically that's how it was. And whenever I came back to work at the family business later on, it was the same deal. It's like, put the cabinets together. Okay, you need help with anything else? And it made me like want to be productive. It made me want to like participate and do stuff like that. And it's just everyone's different though. I know that, you know, my idealistic, you know, mindset of like my childhood and everything, there were problems, you know, like my parents getting divorced was one of the more like traumatic things in my life, especially certain moments that were very, very dark and I don't really feel comfortable talking about. But needless to say, you know, no childhood is perfect. Never is going to be. And the parents in the beginning need to show their children that they're there for them and that they're there to always help them out if they need to, especially during these years, like ages 4 and 6. These are like the most formative years of a child's life, where they will start to develop their likes and dislikes, where they'll start to develop, you know, their talents and everything like that. It's also a good time to teach kids other languages, because they can anchor onto those languages and they'll become interested in learning them through immersion learning. And if I ever have kids, I want to teach my kids to speak Spanish, and like when they're 4 or 5 years old, I'm going to start speaking Spanish around them, so that way that interests them in learning that language. And you know, it's just stuff like that. But again, I don't have kids, so I can have all the wishful thinking I want, but it can't hurt to hope.
In one episode, Chicken Rat, Bingo lost her favorite toy, and Mom asks, well, where was the last place you had it? The two retrace Bingo's steps, and through flashbacks, we see this bizarre day that Bluey and Bingo had. The very first flashback we see, Bluey and Bingo are cooking a chicken rat egg while wearing weird costumes. And through this creative backwards storytelling, we piece together what a chicken rat is and how the kids ended up in this situation. It's episodes like that which really make me appreciate the care that went into this show, and really sets Bluey apart from every other preschool show. Most preschool shows stick to a formula and talk down to the viewer, because typically their viewers are short. As a childless adult, I don't want to say, this show teaches you how to be a good parent, because I don't know how to be a good parent. But on paper, there are lessons in this show that are just as important for the parents to learn. So while watching season 1, I got a feel for the world and characters. I started to piece together, okay, this show is depicting perfect parents, it's well written and wholesome, anyone regardless of having kids can enjoy the show. Let's watch the rest, shall we? Season 2 and Season 3 is when things go from 100 to 1,000. This is when episodes cover deep and emotional topics that I think toddlers are too baby to understand. Let's see, there's the struggles of keeping romance in your relationship alive when you have 2 toddlers to look after, why taking time to play with your kids can have a ripple effect that lasts into adulthood, feeling inadequate as a mom, what it's like having a dad in the army, parents disagreeing on different parenting styles, moms getting tipsy, implied, dealing with infertility, abandonment, potentially a miscarriage, that one's still up in the air, and death. Actually, that one was in season 1. You can't even compare Bluey to other preschool shows. Like, what the f*** was Dora the Explorer even doing? What?
Taxes.
Impuestos. Taxes. What are taxes, Dora? They're the death of your childhood. But I'll say this. There's
the meme I've seen recently about taxes. It's like, okay, I'll explain taxes to you. Here's a bag of M&Ms. All right, now, you have to give me some of your M&Ms, but only I know how many you have to give me. You have to guess. If you get it wrong, though, you go to prison.
That's true. It's true. I mean, honestly, doing my taxes, I really wish the IRS would just be like, okay, according to our estimates, you owe us this much money. And instead, they're just like, yeah, we could tell you, but, nah.
We'll leave it up to you to figure out. We'll just send somebody to arrest you if you get it wrong.
Oh, God. But
That's horrible.
But
It's true, though.
There's one show that I can really think of.
That's why, according to my guesstimates, I don't know them shit.
I really hope that James brings this up, but there was actually a show for kids, like, back during, like, the 60s and 70s, all the way up until, like, almost 2000, that actually did teach kids about death, about war, about divorce, about very, very heavy topics. Mm-hmm. You know what show that was? Yeah. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, like, taught about racism, taught about and that's the thing. People have this rose-tinted, like, ideal of Mr. Rogers, just be like, he always made us feel safe. He never talked about things that made us, like, angry or made us sad. No, he did. When Robert F. Kennedy and actually it was Martin Luther King. When Martin Luther King died, and then when Robert Kennedy died, he dedicated a full week to talking about, like, the serious topics of war, racism, assassination, death, and it was and it taught kids why people do this. Like, sometimes people disagree with each other, and it's like whenever you hear people fighting, sometimes that fighting can go very, very bad. And here's the thing about fighting like that: it can lead to conflicts that result in people not being here anymore. And it was very kind and very endearing with how he taught kids this, and he spoke to kids on their level. He never once took the high ground or the high road or tried to paint in broad brushes. He was precise, to the point, and he told the kids exactly what they needed to hear. And that's why I think Mr. Rogers is one of the best heroes in television history. I watched Mr. Rogers when I was a kid.
I did too, but I didn't know all that.
Oh yeah,
was in there.
And dude, the one episode that really struck a chord with me was it was an older one, but it was when him and Francois Clement, Officer Francois, basically sat in the hot summer day and, like, put their feet in the pool to cool off. And that's the thing, Mr. Rogers is white, and Officer Clement was black. Mm-hmm. And that was considered, like, no-go. Like, you can't, like, no sharing a pool, no sitting in the same area or anything like that. And he did it on live TV in front of everybody, and they sang a song together, and it was beautiful. It was amazing. And I think that we need to have that with kids. We need to have that really, like, down-to-earth moment with kids where we can speak on their level. And instead of, like, trying to speak down to them and, like, domineer over them, like, be real with them. Like, just because kids aren't as dumb as you think they are. Some kids are very smart and are really good at problem solving. Mm-hmm. And you should treat kids with respect because they're a human being just like you. Anyway.
Was she even trying to entertain the adults who are also going to be watching her show? Dora had the same formula every episode, and there was a map who sang a song that was just repeating the same 3 words 14 times. Season 2, there's an episode where Chili is telling Bluey about how when she was a baby, she wasn't crawling or rolling over as fast as the other babies in her mom group, and she compared Bluey's developmental delay to the other babies and felt inadequate as a mother. And then this pink poodle comes to console her, looks directly into the camera and says, "You're doing great." I'm a he-him male with no kids, and I still get teary-eyed just thinking about that episode. People will tell you that Bluey is a kid's show that adults can enjoy too. No, that episode wasn't for the kids. It was directed at all the moms watching who are doubting their motherhood. When has Cocomelon ever done something like this? All the babies stop singing mid-nursery rhyme, look directly into the camera and say, "Hey mom, just wanted to say you're doing a great job raising me. Keep up the good work." Like, no, that'll never happen. I'm still not done talking about how impressive the writing in Bluey is, okay? So please indulge me for a bit. I'm switching into video essay mode as we do a deep dive into the themes and symbolisms of one of my favorite Bluey episodes, Flat Pack. The entire episode is an allegory of human history told from a religious and scientific perspective, respectively. And it touches on the ever-growing relationships between a mother and child, all within 7 minutes. No, I'm not reading too deep into this. Let's begin.
Damn.
Bandit and Chili set out to build a new swing for their porch, and we get this great meta self-aware joke from Bandit when he complains about the instructions saying, I'm not taking advice from a cartoon dog. Meanwhile, the girls play games with the leftover packing materials that are thrown into the yard by their parents. Bluey and Bingo are given bubble wrap, which they pretend is water, so they pretend they're fish. Then they're given cardboard, which they pretend is land, so they pretend they're frogs. Then they're given tails and become lizards, then T-Rexes, then birds, then furry little animals. Is this chart starting to look familiar? Then they're monkeys, and then bipedal cave dogs. What? Is that you, Mr. Darwin? Were these girls playing out the evolution of man through a silly game? Now, if you didn't like the evolution symbolism, I know you're going to love the parents being an allegory for the creators. You know, the big guy upstairs, the whatever you believe is going on.
Accurate representation of most churches nowadays. I mean, church attendances are at an all-time low. That's something that I've noticed over time, because
a lot of them are alienating their audiences by being overtly hateful.
That's another thing too, and that's one thing that I'm glad I had a good pastor that was not about alienating people, but was about embracing people for who they were, and that teaching people that the arms of God are always there for you if you wish to embrace Him. And that's and he always emphasized, "Be it unto thee to find thine own salvation," and that's all he ever wanted to teach. And honestly, that's one reason why I think just, dang, we need more pastors like that, man. Just people who embrace others for who they are and don't judge, because judge not lest ye be judged, right? Right? But instead, no, you're just going to be a judgmental piece of crap because you think that your faith in a higher power gives you the right and the carte blanche to basically be a jerk. That's not right. That's not how that is not what God wants you to use your religion for.
The parents supply the girls with their entire world. They give the girls the sea, the land, the volcanoes, and the trees. In these cave paintings the girls make that tell their history, they depict the parents as gods, higher up and in the clouds. They do look a little angry. Perhaps they're still in the Old Testament.
Okay, that's awesome. That's great. That's a great parallel there, James. I like that.
Creators is hinted at again by Chili when she looks at the girls lovingly saying, "Aw, we made them." The parents give the girls an Allen wrench, aka tools, and one industrial revolution later, the girls evolve from cave dogs to modern dogs, building futuristic towns and spaceships. Throughout the episode, as the girls go through different stages of evolution, they also go through different stages of their lives as a mother and child. As fish, Bluey says that she's the mommy fish and Bingo is the baby. Then as frogs, Bingo pretends to be a toddler and Bluey teaches her how to catch flies. Then as T-Rexes, Bingo becomes a big girl. Then as cave dogs, she's a teenager. And finally, in the last stage, she's all grown up, ready to traverse the universe on her own. She thanks Bluey for looking after her and leaves on her spaceship. Bluey, now much older as shown by her having to use a cane, crosses the styrofoam threshold which represents her death, and she gets to live with her creators. All while this orchestral masterpiece is playing, and suddenly you realize you're crying? When did that start? And then Bandit ties the allegory all together at the very end saying, "Ah, this is heaven." Are you joshing me right now?
What?
Dear God, man.
This is a kid show.
This is amazing allegory and such great like just tie-ins of just real world. Dude, that is really good. That is stupidly good. Honestly, I don't really have any criticism for that. I would need to see it fully for myself.
Yeah,
but from
it's
how
actually making me want to watch it.
But from how James is explaining it, this is just stupidly good. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm interested. I'm interested in this.
preschool show was able to tell a clever allegorical story with tasteful religious undertones in how many minutes? Did you just make me feel emotions over a cartoon dog? This isn't the only episode you can make an in-depth video essay on. There are plenty of other episodes that hit just as hard as this one. While I was doing research for this video, it got me thinking about another foreign animated kids show with...
Oh, man.
To hell with Peppa Pig. To hell with Peppa Pig and to hell with Caillou. Those are not good kid shows.
8-minute-long episodes that focus on a family of 2 toddlers. Except, unlike Bluey, this show is universally hated. Caillou, it's Caillou.
Yes.
What the hell is Carcat doing in that?
This show is universally hated. Caillou, it's Caillou.
Are you saying that people hate Homestuck?
I don't know. Is that the Brave Little Toaster?
I don't know, but like that little dude down there, that's Carcat from Homestuck. I'm like, what the hell is he doing here?
I don't know. I think maybe
James hates him, or he just wanted to put him in for or one of the other animators that works with him wanted to put him in for just.
Hey James, what are your thoughts on Homestuck? I'd like to know his thoughts on Homestuck. I really would.
I mean, like, the fan base has some really toxic people, as pretty much any fan base does.
Yeah.
Overall, like, it's kind of a neat webcomic.
Fair enough.
I had this idea in my head that people only hated Caillou because he was a more accurate portrayal of a toddler. But in the handful of Caillou episodes I watched, I was reminded, oh no, that's why people hate Caillou.
No, he's not an accurate portrayal of a toddler. He's a fucking asshat.
Yeah. Now, there is a fan theory going around that the reason why Caillou literally gets anything that he wants and his parents are always so catering to him, in spite of his, like, tantrums and all this and all that, is because he's dying of cancer. I'm about said something very mean there, but I stopped myself because it's just like
Watch what you say.
just gonna leave that there. Just gonna let that gonna let that float out into the ether. Y'all make of that whatever you will.
Yeah,
because he sucks. His brattiness isn't even important to the plot. It comes out of nowhere. Caillou will be getting ready in the morning. He spills cat food and says, "Gilbert, look what you did." He's at the beach and this bird who's done nothing wrong gets told to go away. And there's a bunch more examples of Caillou being a whiny piece of shit. And I can't help but think that Caillou's screeching, piercing, whiny voice does not help him be a likable character. I bet real toddlers can be little punks sometimes, but why would you show that in your cartoon and not have him learn any lesson?
Yeah. What lessons does Caillou learn? That being a brat gets you everything that you want? Because that's what I see. Every episode that I've seen of it, it's just like, acts like a brat, gets what he wants.
That must be like an evil prank that someone decided to play on parents, like by somehow getting a hold of a children's show time slot and just putting out something that basically teaches kids if they throw a tantrum, they'll get what they want.
Ah. So, turns out it's Canadian. I didn't realize that Caillou was a Canadian TV show. Also, let's see. Where's the, okay. Oh, I didn't know she passed away. That's unfortunate. The actress who played Caillou. Okay, so, man. I'm just looking at the history of Caillou. It's just like, how old was the...
Sorry.
Nope.
My bad.
Shit happens. There we go.
Oh, the batteries came out and everything.
Shit happens. It's okay. There we go. And all well and good.
We need like a holder or something for the remote over there.
I would have like a little table right here, but don't really think anything would fit over here. Maybe I could get like a little wall-mounted thing here, like a little wall-mounted shelf.
Either
They
that or
have
just get one of
shelves
those
on Amazon.
pouches that goes on the arm of your chair that you can just drop it in the arm of your chair over there.
They have tables on Amazon that tuck under the couch.
Oh, might try those. But anyway, sorry. I was just checking to see how old the voice actor or actress was for Caillou. It turns out the voice actress was was actually a girl, and turns out she was only 17 when she passed away. Which,
Wow.
yeah, and then she
Wonder
died.
why.
I didn't really get a chance to see, but then she was replaced by another voice actress, and that's sad. I didn't know that. It's unfortunate.
There's never a lesson learned in Caillou. Since Caillou was a brat all the time, a lot of people, myself included, wondered why Caillou's parents never disciplined or even tried to change his bratty behavior. But after I thought about it, I realized it would be a very weird episode of Caillou if one day Caillou's mom was like, "Caillou, what did you do to your sister?" "I made her look pretty, Mommy." "Caillou, that was Mommy's expensive makeup. How many times do I have to tell you not to touch Mommy's things? Come here, you little twit."
I love that James is just looking there maniacally, just like,
Like his
yes,
eyebrows.
yes.
We here at Team Renegades do not condone violence against children. We do, however, find it hilarious.
Anything is spanking. Mommy, you're hurt. I've had enough of you, Caillou. I hate you. That kid got what was coming to him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I like how the brown, like, little doggy is, like, sitting there, like, cringing and stuff, and he's just sitting there, like...
Finally. And honestly, that right there, that's the image I would love to have seen right there on Caillou at least once. Just once, for God's sakes.
Maybe that episode would be cathartic to some parents. Anyways, getting
Yeah.
back to the actual best children's show ever, even though Bluey is literally the most mentally intelligent and educational show for the minds of children, teens, adults, and parents, some unnamed mouse company decided to censor some of the episodes on their platform. It's the strangest things that got censored, too. This horse pooping, Bandit getting hit in the groin, Bandit saying the word groin. This hitchhiker is no longer from Argentina. That one's kind of weird.
That is really weird.
Why? Why is the hitchhiker no longer from Argentina?
What
me think
in
about
the
this.
world?
Argentina. I was gonna say, is it offensive to British people because of like the Falkland Islands War? I don't get that. I don't get it.
Pretend cat saying it will pretend pee on the curtains. Bandit hinting at wanting to get snip snip down there. Adults, you know what I'm talking about. In the last 10 episodes of Season 3, which are some of the deepest episodes in the series, aren't even on Disney+. But that could just be a licensing thing, I don't know. I kept waiting for the infertility episode. I heard so much about it. I finally got to the last episode on Disney+ and thought, oh, okay. They're saving the deepest one for last. All right, let's do this. And the episode was about the family playing courtroom to determine if Bandit farted.
They're dressed
I
up
hope
as
this
Phoenix
video-
Wright and Edgeworth.
That's awesome.
Holy shit.
Convinced you to give Bluey a chance. I mean, you're still here listening to a grown man talk about it, so you gotta be at least a little interested in it. Through its relatable and realistic portrayal of family life, the show has not only entertained, but also taught valuable life lessons to its viewers. The show's emphasis on play and family bonding is so refreshing to see compared to the usual fast-paced, mind-numbing shows aimed at kids.
Yeah.
Bluey reminds us all the importance of spending time with loved ones and finding joy in the everyday. And if you still don't want to watch Bluey, have you thought about getting high and watching it?
James.
Thank you all so much for watching.
Okay.
So here's the thing, is it would be a terrifying experience for me, most likely.
Really?
He would think that
Getting
they
high
were
in general
coming-
terrifies me. I don't know what happened, but at some point a switch flipped and I can't do it anymore.
Well,
It's always a bad time.
me, I just probably sit here and just be like,
Viscovania. What is that?
oh, that's the name of the artist, and that's their avatar. And I just look at the show and I just be like,
They all bluified their avatars for this credits. sequence.
Yeah, well, alright, everybody. I think that is going to do it. So this was my thoughts on Bluey by The Odd Ones Out. And I guess until next time, signing off, I'm Nate.
I'm Kate.
I am Nick.
And we'll see you in the next one, everybody. Peace.